Ancient Egypt, how your house revealed your place in society. The year is 1250 BC. We are in Thebes, ancient Egypt. The capital of the New Kingdom is a sprawling, sun-baked metropolis stretching along the banks of the Nile. When we picture ancient Egypt today, our minds are completely dominated by stone. We see the towering pyramids, the colossal statues of pharaohs, and the deeply carved, silent walls of the temples. But those are the houses of the gods and the fortresses of the dead. The actual living civilization was not built of stone, it was built of mud. In ancient Egypt, your daily reality, your social status, and your ultimate survival were dictated entirely by the walls you slept behind. Your home was a physical manifestation of your place in the universe. Using AI trained on the meticulously excavated foundations of Amarna, the surviving workers' village of Deir el-Medina, and the detailed architectural models left behind in elite tombs, we have completely reconstructed the domestic world of the pharaohs. We are going to strip away the golden masks and walk through the three incredibly distinct tiers of Egyptian living. Imagine the suffocating, cramped heat of a laborer's row house, the brilliant, painted breezes of a nobleman's city mansion, and the massive economic engine of a rural vizier's estate. Experience ancient Egypt from the inside out. The morning begins in the crowded, labyrinthine streets of eastern Thebes. If you live here, you belong to the vast majority of the Egyptian population, the craftsmen, the laborers, and the farmers. You do not live in a standalone house. You live in a dense, tightly packed row of dwellings sharing thin, common walls with your neighbors. The streets are incredibly narrow, unpaved and winding, designed deliberately to keep the harsh, relentless sun from reaching the ground. You are standing in front of your home. It is built entirely of djebet, sun-dried mud bricks. This material is the absolute foundation of the empire. The dark, fertile silt of the Nile is mixed with sand and straw, pressed into wooden molds and baked hard in the blazing sun. It is cheap, it is abundant, and it possesses incredible thermal mass, absorbing the searing heat of the day and releasing it slowly during the freezing desert nights. You step through a low, narrow wooden door into the first room. There are no large windows here. Windows let in the blinding glare, the suffocating heat, and the endless blowing sand. Instead, your home is dimly lit by small grated slits set high up near the ceiling to allow smoke and hot air to escape. The front room is a workshop and a reception area. If you are a potter or a sandal maker, your raw materials are stacked here. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth, dried reeds, and the lingering scent of last night's garlic and onion stew. You move into the central room, the heart of the house. The ceiling is supported by a single rough-hewn wooden palm column. There is a small raised platform of mud brick where the family gathers to eat, and a tiny, built-in niche in the wall holding a modest limestone bust of an ancestor or a small amulet of Bes, the protector of the household. But the most important room in a working-class Egyptian house isn't actually a room at all. You climb a steep, narrow flight of mud brick stairs at the back of the house and emerge onto the flat roof. The roof is where the true living happens. Down in the cramped, airless rooms, cooking over an open fire would turn the house into a suffocating oven. So, the clay bread ovens are located up here under the open sky. Your wife is already awake, grinding emmer wheat on a heavy stone quern, preparing the dough that will sustain the family for the day. During the brutal, sweltering heat of the summer months, the interior of the house is simply too hot for sleeping. The entire family brings their woven palm frond mats up to the roof, sleeping under the brilliant, unpolluted canopy of the stars, catching whatever faint breeze rolls off the Nile. Your existence here is functional, deeply communal, and intimately tied to the earth. But if you walk just a few miles away, toward the affluent northern suburbs, the reality of mud brick completely transforms. You are leaving the dust of the workers behind and entering the world of the elite, the scribes, the high-ranking military officers, and the temple priests. You are approaching an elite townhouse, Just like in Rome, the absolute wealth of the Egyptian elite is deliberately hidden from the public street. You do not see a grand, inviting facade. You see a massive, blank, whitewashed enclosure wall stretching 12 feet high. It is a fortress designed to keep out the noise, the dust, and the prying eyes of the lower classes. You step through a heavy wooden gate and cross the threshold. The psychological transition is immediate and breathtaking. You leave the harsh, blinding desert environment and step into a private, engineered paradise. You are standing in a spacious, perfectly manicured courtyard garden. In the center is a T-shaped, artificial pool lined with smooth stone, filled with clear water drawn by servants from the river. Vibrant blue lotus flowers float on the surface, and sycamore fig trees provide deep, cool shade. The air here smells of damp earth and sweet blossoms, a stark contrast to the stifling alleyways of the city. You walk up a short ramp and enter the main house through a shaded portico. The architectural genius of the Egyptian elite reveals itself in the central hall. This is the magnificent core of the mansion. The ceiling here is raised significantly higher than the surrounding rooms, supported by towering, beautifully carved wooden columns painted to resemble blooming papyrus reeds. Because the central ceiling is raised, the architects have installed clear-story windows, a row of stone grills set high up on the walls. This creates a brilliant, indirect, soft light that illuminates the room without letting in the direct heat of the sun. But the true mastery is the mulqaf, the wind catcher. Built onto the roof is a large, angled structure facing directly north. It captures the cool, prevailing Mediterranean winds and funnels them directly down into the central hall, acting as a highly effective, ancient air conditioning system. The floors of this reception hall are not packed dirt. They are coated in smooth, pristine white plaster and vividly painted. As you walk across the room, you are stepping on a masterpiece of art. Painted pools of water, swimming fish, and flying ducks, creating the illusion of walking across a lush marshland. If you are a guest of lower status, you wait here, sitting on low wooden stools. But if you are an equal, the master of the house receives you from a raised, plastered dais. He sits on an elegant wooden chair inlaid with imported ebony and ivory, featuring finely carved lion's paws for legs. You are served chilled premium wine in delicately painted clay goblets. The entire house is a theatrical stage, meticulously designed to project absolute harmony, order, and control over nature. It proves that the man who lives here is favored by the gods, insulated entirely from the struggles of the common mud. Yet even this spectacular city mansion pales in comparison to the absolute pinnacle of domestic power. To see the true, staggering wealth of the new kingdom, you must leave the city boundaries and travel to the lush, sprawling agricultural lands along the riverbank. You are approaching the country estate of a royal vizier. An estate of this magnitude is not merely a residence, it is a massive, entirely self-sustaining economic empire, a bustling village in its own right. The compound spans acres of premium, irrigated land. As you enter the outer courtyards, you do not see gardens, you see industry. You are looking at the true currency of the ancient world. Before you stand rows of massive domed mud brick granaries, towering 20 feet into the air. Workers are constantly climbing wooden ladders, dumping heavy sacks of barley and wheat through openings in the roof. The Egyptians do not use minted coins. Grain is money. It pays the servants, funds the trade expeditions, and secures political favors. These granaries are the equivalent of a modern billionaire's bank vault, and they are proudly displayed right in the front courtyard for every visitor to see. Beyond the granaries are the workshops. The elite estate employs dozens of specialized workers. You hear the rhythmic clacking of heavy wooden looms as women weave the incredibly fine, translucent linen worn by the aristocracy. You smell the pungent, yeasty aroma of the estate's private brewery, churning out hundreds of jugs of thick, nutritious beer to sustain the workforce. There are slaughterhouses, bakeries, and carpentry shops. The vizier does not need to buy anything from the city markets. His estate produces every single luxury and necessity entirely in-house. Deep within this buzzing economic machine lies the master's private residence. It is a sprawling, multi-story mansion. The level of luxury here is staggering. You walk into the private family quarters. Unlike the working class who sleep on the roof, the vizier has a dedicated, lavish bedroom. The bed is an exquisite piece of craftsmanship, featuring a woven string mattress that provides a gentle, springing support, raised high off the floor to avoid drafts and pests. More incredibly, the master suite includes a private bathroom. It is a small room lined entirely with smooth, waterproof limestone slabs. The vizier stands on a raised stone platform while servants stand behind a low wall, pouring jugs of clean, scented water over him. The runoff flows perfectly into a carved stone basin, which drains through a lead pipe out into the garden. Next to the bathing slab is a limestone toilet seat, set over a deep sandpit that is emptied daily by the estate workers. This level of private indoor sanitation is a luxury that will vanish from the world for centuries after antiquity ends. In the late afternoon, the vizier retreats to his massive, shaded loggia overlooking his private, artificial lake. He sits on a cushion of fine imported silk, reviewing the papyrus ledgers brought to him by his personal scribes. He is looking at grain yields, cattle inventories, and shipments of Nubian gold. He is completely insulated by a small army of guards, servants, and administrators. He watches the sun set over fields that he owns, watered by a river that sustains his entire reality. He does not just live in Egypt, he is a master of its incredibly lucrative ancient soil. That was the reality of ancient Egyptian housing. It was a civilization that celebrated the eternal, but lived intensely in the temporary. Your house was the absolute measure of your destiny. If you lived in the winding, narrow alleys of the workers' village, your life was a communal, rugged existence, intimately tied to the heat of the mud and the labor of your hands. If you lived in the elite townhouse, you used brilliant architectural engineering to capture the wind, transforming your home into a painted oasis of privilege. And if you controlled the sprawling rural estate, your home was an economic fortress, hoarding the agricultural wealth of the Nile. The Egyptians knew that mud brick would never last forever. They accepted that their homes would eventually crumble, wash away in the floods, and return to the earth. They saved their stone, their flawless granite, and their eternal engineering exclusively for their tombs. But for the fleeting, beautiful years that they drew breath, they built a world of incredible ingenuity, deep comfort, and absolute order out of the mud beneath their feet. This video is brought to you by the Paladin Learn History app. Scan the QR code to learn more history.